All right, are you down with Dana Brown? We do this every single Wednesday. He gives us nonsense. Sometimes, it's starting to be maybe a little less nonsense here the last 2 weeks. Are we trending upward?
I think we're down with Dana B more often than not the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I think the first one was completely not down. And then I think last week we were mostly down.
I think once we started the segment, he must have heard us and was like, I need to stop sounding like a total idiot all the time.
Soften.
There comes a moment in every propagandist's life where the walls close in and there's not enough room for wildly gesticulating with your words about false realities.
Okay, Abreu, injuries, or Yiner and Presley? Dealer's choice, Paul.
You said Abreu, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, I did.
I mean, let's just rip the effing Band-Aid off.
All right, quote from Dana Brown today. He's a veteran and hope he turns the corner. If he can't turn the corner, we'll have to deal with that. But there's a ton of games left. Going forward, if he doesn't get hot, we're going to have to make a decision.
Okay, well...
Jose Abreu getting cut?
How many games are they going to allow him to get hot? I mean, the problem with allowing him to try and get hot for 2 games is that you could, if you really wanted to, pin last night's loss on Jose Abreu. There was enough there. He was a liability at the plate, and he had 2, not just 1, 2 defensive plays in the eighth, that were suspect, if maybe not the easiest.
Yeah.
I don't just mean the line drive that went off of his glove. It was a diving attempt. I mean, it was going to be a tough catch. But if he stays in front of it, instead of allowing it to bounce up and into the outfield, that saves 1 run. And I felt he could have done a better job trying to catch that throw by Alex Bregman. We didn't get a great replay angle, and it feels like the Space City Home Network is a little bit, let's just say, careful with showing defensive replays of Abreu. They better be very, very careful with how many games they let this play out. I feel like it's got to be less than 15.
How long? Dana Brown doesn't know. Follow up to that. He said, how long? I don't know, but it's in sight.
What?
And we're aware of it. If he can't get hot and turn a corner, we'll have to have a different discussion.
I would be okay with the 2-week open tryout during the regular season. I don't love it, but fine. Did it have to start during your most important 4-game series of the season? Is that when it had to start?
Yes.
Did it have to start right now? That's if it started with the Twin series. What's that, on Friday? Is that when the first game is? So
That's would be a playoff rematch, though, Sean. I mean, this stretch is not great. It was the stretch that you just went through.
Yeah, but he was in Florida. He had to get things right. But I'm saying that this is tough not only because of the opponent. It's or the quality of the opponent. It's also when you lose games, you drop in the standings directly. And so that's why they had a chance to, I think, lead by half a game if they won all 4, right? Or maybe be tied. I forget. But they had a serious chance to just be back at the top of the AL West if things went well in Seattle.
Yep.
Instead, they decided to play the guy who they deemed unplayable.
It's very strange. I can't think of a moment in this schedule where it's ideal to play him. I mean, not only, Sean, are you losing ground in the division, you're losing ground in a theoretical tiebreaker at the end of the year, which it was nice that you were able to win that tiebreaker over the Texas Rangers at the end of last year. What are we talking about if that doesn't happen? Although the Astros were better on the road than they were at home, so maybe that actually would have helped them out.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it. But, I mean, Minnesota is a playoff team from last year. And that was
it's not someone you're directly behind in the standings.
I get it.
That's what I'm saying.
It makes a lot more sense to have brought him back
also
June 3rd.
Also at home, home cooking.
He's going to get booed.
I know. That's
why he's on the road.
That's probably why they didn't. And guess what?
Honestly,
these first 2 games didn't help
How
him.
long? He shouldn't make it home. 4 games, that's it.
I know, but they're not going to do that.
I know they're not. But you know who's hitting 273 in the minors right now?
Who?
With 8 RBIs. He's walked 12 times in 100 plate appearances for the Atlanta Braves.
Oh,
no.
Gurriel.
Yuli!
Oh, no.
6-game hit streak. Bring him back.
Can you just sign him off of the Braves?
Yeah. He's a minor leaguer for the Braves. He's in 273 in the minors right now. Bring back Yuli.
I mean,
Yuli.
wasn't that long ago
Yuli.
that he won the AL batting title and a Gold Glove.
I'm very
More recently than Abreu won an MVP.
Yeah, I was going to say,
how
how recently was that?
Like,
Was that 2021?
I think it was 21 or 22. I forget which year, but it's one of the 2 years. Yeah.
bring back Yuli.
All right. What else did Dana Brown talk about? God, talking about Jose Abreu.
Enough Abreu stuff.
Talking about Jose Abreu makes me want to. Yeah.
Let's talk about the good stuff, like the starting pitching woes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So here's Dana Brown on Christian Javier and Jose Urquidy. He said, we're getting a couple opinions from our docs. I think we should know in 48 hours on those guys, on Javier and Urquidy. Even if they're down for a month or two or whatever it is, we'll know in 48 hours. We're still good enough. He did follow up with Jose Urquidy. Said, quote, really worried.
If he's saying that
That's
about
not-
anyone, that means he's done.
They're
That's
taking him out
really
back.
not. Jose Urquidy's done for the year.
Oh,
Your GM saying he's really worried?
Not just any GM. If any GM said that he's really worried, okay, it's probably a serious injury. When Dana Brown is saying, I'm really worried about Jose Urquidy, does he still have an arm? That's where my mind goes. Was there some sort of wild dog attack that happened while he was in Sugarland?
Good question.
Did his arm get blown off in the storm?
The derecho. Which one? Yesterday's? Did it get hailed off?
Oh, how's your patio?
Patio's fine.
Okay. I make sure we get patio. We can't get dating updates.
No, yeah, we had to close
so
the
we
book
need
on that
patio
one, yeah.
updates.
Well, there's no dating updates.
Well, we got patio updates.
I
instead.
didn't go to the HOA meeting last night because I was like, you know what?
Oh, you didn't want to see her?
Storm?
Basically, yeah. I was like,
Oh,
I don't want to go. Well, I also thought to myself, this is going to be like a 2-hour thing, and I'm just going to be miserable the whole time. It was fun the first time where everyone got mad at each other, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, do I want to be there for 2.5 hours?
Especially, and probably the entire thing was about the derecho last night, I would imagine, and like the damage that your area took.
Probably about the water boiler and the very large increase in the monthly HOA dues.
But yeah, this is not good for Jose.
Yeah.
This is not good for Jose Urquidy. I mean, even Javier, he's saying even if they're down for a month or two, whatever it is, we'll know in 48 hours. It's
a bad day to be a Jose.
yeah.
When 1 month is the optimistic prognosis, that's pretty bad.
What do you think about Dana Brown saying though we're still good enough, even if they're down a month or two?
Well, I always expect him to say that.
Yeah.
The man has
Honestly, Hunter Brown might be pitching his way out of the doghouse.
Him and Arrighetti.
Yeah.
I give him credit to both.
At least
of them.
of being like the throwaway comment every time we look at who's the probable starters for a series and we go, oh, Hunter Brown. Now it's like, okay, they'll be in the mix for Hunter. The bats need to come through on Hunter Brown starts.
they dug deep. They got better.
Yeah.
There's a couple other guys, though, Joe, that I believe Dana Brown talked about that we're not 100% sure about.
Text here from the 281. Let's just bring the band back together. Greinke, Yuli, tell Reddick to suit up. No on Reddick. No on Greinke. Just Yuli.
I mean, let's bring more of the old band back together. Let's get Jeff Bagwell. Let's get Craig Biggio away from roster construction and back out on the field.
Would Jeff Bagwell have a higher batting average than Jose Abreu?
What are we at? 105?
I think so. I mean, he can barely move his shoulder.
No. Yeah, no.
You don't think that Jeff Bagwell, Hall of Famer, could get 2 hits and 10 at-bats right now?
Biggio, maybe. Bagwell, no. Because of the injuries.
I think Baggy could figure it out. I think he could find a way.
Well,
Probably not a lot of power.
one of those ways could be, I don't know, giving Roger Clemens a phone call. Roger Clemens, 7th or 8th inning instead of Ryan Presley. Just 1 inning
Just
for the
need him
Rocket.
1 inning. That's what I was thinking when you mentioned Zach Greinke. I was like, honestly.
I mean, listen,
We just talked about how Jose Urquidy's arm's about to fall off.
Nolan Ryan, get him out there. Nolan Ryan beat up a man when he was 50.
He threw a first pitch like not that long. I think it was in the last like 5 or 6 years, and it was in like the high 70s.
George W. Bush, he threw a pitch once. Is he more trustworthy than Ryan Presley? Biggest moment in our nation's history. The first pitch after 9/11.
Right down the middle.
Nailed it.
I was thinking the video with his dad holding up the baseball. It's like, I don't think he can. I don't know if we need
George
that.
H.W. is where I will draw the line.
We're not going back that far, Paul?
No, not quite that
Okay.
far. We're not going to have people coming out and walkers. I pitched in the 1930s. I only pitched because there was segregation.
I mean,
So, some stadiums have the bullpen carts. So
look, there is rumors that Ted Williams' head is frozen somewhere, and they're just ready. You know,
that one
like,
too.
teach him to play first. Teach
him
that
to play-
disembodied
teach him to play first.
head to play first.
I just saw this. So we mentioned this earlier. The Astros scored exactly one run, or scored all the runs in one inning in exactly 6 straight games. It's the longest streak since 2017. Cleveland did it, also 16. The only teams with 7 in the expansion era are the 1974 Orioles and the 62-63 Angels. The MLB record is 8. So you know what? Record watch.
Well, hey,
Earn history.
Earn history.
to their credit, at least they're scoring runs in an inning per game, but just an inning.
Yeah, if he gets shut out, I think that snaps the streak.
I think they got to score more runs in that inning or get shut out.
It would be great if they just scored like 9 in one and then just got shut out.
And I think they're almost all in between innings 4 through 6. So they're not scoring at the beginning of the games and the end of the games.
They had 6 against the A's on Friday.
Great.
Yeah.
In one inning.
Let's get it. Let's get a couple more. I can live with 6 though.
5
If you're going to
against
only
the-
score in one.
Yeah,
give me
that's
6.
true. Yeah, if you're going to score it all in one inning, do 5 or 6.
5 or 6. You did that on Friday. You did that on Sunday. Your last 2 wins? Oh. Well, when you score in one inning, that's what you got to do.
One other thing from Dana Brown. He said he was asked about Yiner Diaz and Ryan Presley, and he said they're quote both going through some cold streaks, and then also mentions that both are more than good enough to get through it and get hot.
Well, I got to say this about Yiner Diaz. Yiner Diaz is swinging at everything that moves.
He did it last
mean-
year too.
Yiner Diaz is a lot like your drunk friend at college with the beer goggles that is just going after everything. And no, I don't mean every single woman or man at the bar. I mean, he's going after couches.
Yeah.
He sees the recliner and he's like, "Oh yeah,
Do you
give me that ottoman."
He's batting 9th.
Yeah,
I mean, he's still towards the top of the team in RBIs for the season, but he has been
he stinks this year.
dreadful.
And everyone
The last,
told
like, 2
me
weeks.
that he didn't play enough last year.
I still believe in Yiner. Like, there's no part of me that is like, this guy's not good.
As what?
An everyday catcher that can be very good for this team.
That can be very good?
Yeah. Not this year.
Because he was the best young catcher in baseball last year.
It kind of reminds me of Pena, of what we saw. Now Pena played a lot more his rookie year versus Yiner, but we saw what happened in year 2. And we see it in baseball, more in baseball, I think, than in most sports. You see the sophomore slump, the book get written on you, and then you have to make major adjustments. And that's kind of what it feels like right now that we're seeing with Yiner, that they have figured this dude out. And whether it's chasing stuff, like you're saying, it's nowhere near the zone, but I mean, the last 7 days, he's 1 for 13.
He's not any better at it is what's concerning to me. Because this is a problem that's been highlighted aloud by multiple people in the Astros organization. I think Espada's talked about it. I feel like Dana Brown now has talked about it too. And I mean, at a certain point, if everyone knows what's up, then why aren't you in West Palm Beach like Jose Abreu?
Yeah. I mean, it does lead to the question of
He's
why
at least hitting
is
251, so there's that.
Caratini not playing more?
Caratini should be right now playing more if we believe Joe Espada is more reactive and adaptive than Dusty Baker, and also believe that that's a good thing, which a lot of you people out there, that is a at least short-term solution. It's not like Yiner Diaz is the greatest caller of games either, based off of what we have seen to this point this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's good, but he's not great.
I have no idea what he is. I feel pretty comfortable saying he's probably not Martin Maldonado, and I mainly base that off of how much people complimented Martin Maldonado.
That's fair.
And the fact that Framber Valdez was at one point this year trying to call his own pitches with Yiner behind the plate, and on top of that, I think has been
he went off
switched,
script.
and he's been switched again too.
Yeah,
for Caratini for the second time this year.
And then so they dropped him down to 9th because he's just been absolutely abysmal. And look, Victor Caratini is, I think he's the 13th highest paid catcher in all of baseball.
Interesting.
So he's got a pretty hefty contract. I mean, it's like catchers are not highly paid, but I would start playing him more. If you're going to move Yiner down to 9th, you might as well just start playing Caratini more and figure out what's going on with him, because there's still a good player in there. We've seen it. It exists, but they can't find it right now.
So he believes that Diaz is going through a cold streak. He's more than good enough to get through it and get hot. He also said the same thing about Ryan Presley. Do either of us believe that? No.
Yes, Diaz, no Presley. Because I don't think this is a cold streak with Presley. This looks like a young, inexperienced player who is learning the game still for Diaz and is struggling. I don't see that with Presley. I don't buy into this change from closer to 8th inning guy is just now ruining him, because look at it. Look at the back of his baseball card when he wasn't a closer in Minnesota. Like it's you can't use that argument only for the positive things. He was not a closer before. So it's not like unless he's that mentally weak of a person, which I don't really believe that either. We've seen Ryan Presley, be nails in the biggest moments for the Astros the last couple of years. I just don't think he's good at this point.
He's not right now. I mean, last night, some people got mad at me because I said that Presley was a part of that meltdown. I don't know how you can feel any way other than Presley was the reason that the meltdown started. He allowed a double right away. He had an 0-2 count on a guy who was trying to bunt his way on base, threw a wild pitch to get the runner from second over to third. Then on top of that, walked the guy who he had up 0-2 because of 2 foul bunts. The guy did not want to hit. that was basically like having a pitcher try to lay down a bunt.
Yeah.